Process.
Everything.
Process is
Everything. Everything.
is process.
Everything. Process is everything.
All right, folks, another episode of Process is Everything. Blake Cook, how you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed today, Tracy.
What have you been doing, man? Since the last time our listener heard us or our viewer saw us, what were you doing?
You know, I played golf one time, got depressed again, stopped golf.
Quit
and
it
now
completely.
I'm back today, this afternoon.
Man, I hope that you do well in your all of your golfing endeavors.
Probably not, but I do love it.
If you like golf, if you like the outdoors, if you like artists, if you like entrepreneurs, if you like insane, crazy businessmen, you're going to love this podcast, folks. You've already seen the title. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our friend, Mr. Nathan Dallas. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Nate?
Hey.
Dude, I feel like we're at Disney World, and we can go to Magic Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
We can go to Animal Kingdom. Let's just stay away from Epcot, right?
Yeah,
Epcot's never as fun as you think it's going to
Right.
be.
Once you get in Epcot, it's like a million degrees hotter than it was when you woke up. It's just hot, and you're like, why did I even come to
That's
Disney?
because it's always day 3 because you had 2 better choices and you're just spent.
And
your
everybody goes
family-
to Magic Kingdom
Yeah,
first.
your family's falling apart on day 3.
Yeah,
I hate
I'm
you.
still not taking my family to Disney World because
Good.
they still think the fair is cool,
Absolutely.
and I'm not ruining that. That's $20 and we blow it out. Why would I drive all the way down there and deal with that? No, man, we're out.
I saw something the other day. A 6-year-old's opinion of the car wash was higher on the scale. You know, you go through the car
Yeah,
wash with
yeah.
all the colors.
Well, and it's just too much. You know, it's too nice. I don't want my kids in that luxury.
It's overload, man.
Well, when Nate Dallas is your dad, imagine waking up
No.
in your next life and Nate Dallas is your pa, right?
I don't have the energy to keep up with what's going on. That's a good place to start. I mean, you're known as so many things: dentist, author, speaker, life coach, business.
Hunter,
what-
gatherer,
He's a great
golfer.
gatherer.
Do some gathering.
Dancer, flamenco dancing like you wouldn't believe. Polar Ice even sponsors
You are
this guy.
a
It's crazy.
real renaissance man. I know a lot of
Truly.
people listening may know you, and if they don't, I'm excited about this podcast to get to know the brain of Nathan Dallas. But, you know, the first thing I want to talk about is something that's been very special to me, my family, my friends, every person that comes in this building here at work. We gift them your new book. I say new. It's not new to you. You've been working on this a long time, but you're too good to feel this bad. This has made its way to my top 4. I love books. I really only love books that you can read and like take something today and do it, and it changes your
Apply
life.
it
And
directly.
apply
and
it.
then go
Yeah.
back to down the road.
What made you want to write this book?
You know, as I was trying to grow myself and make progress, I just kept notes, knowing that one day I might put it all together and assemble it for somebody else. Didn't really know who it was for necessarily, but yeah, I'm kind of a growth junkie, and I try a lot of stuff. I experiment a lot, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and I just decided after years of experimenting and actually trying this stuff and vetting the process to put all the high points together in the Cliff Notes version, and didn't really know if it'd resonate with people. I don't know how many people are into that stuff, but I thought it'd be really selfish and a shame not to share it because, I mean, the research was done and I thought I could write it in a way that was very applicable to your average person and,
You did.
you know, digestible and immediately impactful if you cared to use it. And even if you don't do everything in there, there's a 100% chance that one chapter could change your life. And so far, the response has been tremendous. I mean, I've been overwhelmed by how well received and the number of messages I get every week. It's pretty inspiring.
Well, you've sold tens of thousands of copies now. That's so exciting from somebody from Arlington, Georgia, to make it
To
on
be
the,
able to
to
read.
be able to read.
First off, to be able to
I didn't
put
say
pen
that.
to
You
paper.
did. But you know, the beginnings of this really came from kind of a a dark place
Yeah,
in
sure.
your life. Can you tell me about that? Like, where were you at? I mean, this was a need for you. It turned into a need, I think, for a lot of people. And even for me going through this, it was so awesome. But it's not just about your physical health or eating and dieting. It's really an all-inclusive book on every area of your life. But tell us where this started.
Well, I think, like most people, as life moves on, it gets more complex and can get complicated and more involved. And, life's tough. Nobody makes it out alive. And it's the reality is that at that stage in my life, I had a bunch of kids, had multiple businesses, and was aging. I couldn't get away with some of the stuff that I used to physically, and just processing a lot more. I think the more you're aware of, the more you have to contend with it. It's right in front of you. So I consume a lot, and I read a lot and learning a lot, and it just got to a point where everything seemed pretty overwhelming. And a lot of the things I was working on were getting too big and too demanding. And you always want things to grow and have success, but it was just too much. All of it was too much. And it's not just the cliche of I was chasing the dream and trying to get rich. It wasn't really that. It was reevaluating how I want to feel and how I want my life to go. And I've always kind of known what I wanted and had a decent concept of how to get there, but I needed a recalibration. I needed a reboot. And so I just did a hard stop and said, we're going to fix all of it. And some of that was physical. My sleep schedule was terrible. I learned how to sleep. My breathing needed work. Some of my relationships needed work. Some of my life needed to be minimized. I had to get rid of some things. I had to pass some things off, had to sell some things, but just, reevaluating, because life changes. And if you're just doing the same thing all the time, expecting it to get better, it doesn't really work like that. You gotta have a process. You gotta have systems. And 10 years from now, you're in a different place than you are now. So you gotta be honest and do some self-evaluation. So I was tired and burnout, and it was time to make some changes. So I'm not a lazy person, never been accused of that. And so I was up for the challenge and just went after it. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, a lot of personal experiments, a lot of lab work. And, I feel like I'm in a different place now.
That opening sequence, that opening first chapter, it'll grip you. And that's not the kind of book it is. But
No.
it absolutely.
Well, I tried to
turning
be
page after
brutally
page.
honest. And I think there's something in there people resonate with. And a lot of people, as soon as they read the first chapter, they're like, oh my God, man, this is the perfect timing. You have no idea how this is speaking to me. And I'm like, I don't think it's perfect timing. I think this is a universal problem.
Yeah.
And you're at a place where you want to listen and you're looking for something. It's like people say, I was at this church or that church, and then I went here and found Jesus. Is like, well, he was in all those places. You were just ready.
Right.
Yeah.
You were looking for him, so don't badmouth the last guy that you left. You were probably the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, this stuff is probably, I hope, timeless information that we're going to be humans and we're going to keep running these same really bad patterns. So recalibration is necessary.
And it's a great Audible book too. I want to put that plug in there, man. Just hearing you talk it through is like, well, I know Nate, but now I know the author. I'm listening to him. It's really cool to hear you tell those experiences.
I didn't want to record it myself. I tried multiple ways to get out of that. But
you had some buddies pushing you to do that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I did. Some guys that may be in the
With
room.
microphones.
But I do think that a book read by the author is a book on steroids, because you get all the tone and all that. So that's really the best way to do it. I just hate hearing my own voice. So I didn't want to do it. But anyway.
Everybody hates it except
great
Blake.
voice.
He loves his voice.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about that is, that was peak COVID. So
Oh, yeah.
everything was shut down. The buildings were closed, and, mask requirements, and a lot of studios were closed. And I lost 2 different voice actors due to COVID. They went to the hospital, lost their voice or whatever, or just backed out of the project. So it fell back on me. And I ended up buying the equipment, making a temporary studio in my wife's minivan
Yep.
in our garage.
Great story.
Lined it with egg crate foam,
Great
got
story.
the mics, and I sat out there in my underwear,
Sweating.
sweating like a
I
dog.
love it.
But we got it done, man. We got it done.
So my nephew came in town. He goes to Georgia, and not a big reader. I'm not a big reader either.
You're a listener. Right?
I'm a listener.
listener.
Yeah, and he came in town. He's like, "Man, I read that book you gave me, which is obviously this." And he was like, "Man, it's changed everything." I'm like, in the
Wow.
gym, routines, the whole nine.
And this
He's
is
like,
a 21-year-old.
Yes, 21-year-old
Hey,
in
that's pretty
Athens,
good.
right?
Yeah.
So
Kids
that's-
going places.
So I just want to say thank you for writing this book. And again, if you're listening to this, go get it. Get the Audible, get the paperback, mark it up. Mine's all marked up. But again, it's things you can apply today. So yeah,
I appreciate
it's awesome.
that.
Step back with us to college. You knew, obviously. I'll tell you what. Step back to when you knew I like making things, the entrepreneur spirit. Like I like doing things. I like making money. I like doing things for people. When did you see that? When did that come alive?
Well, I can tell you the first entrepreneurial endeavor because my family reminds me of it all the time. And there's actually an iconic photo of that event. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I think that was a protective mechanism that I developed to get rid of some pain or something. But anyway, I don't remember a lot of it. But there is a photo of me sitting at the May Day Festival in Arlington at age 5 with my booth, and I was selling bugs.
What?
Actually, not bugs, roly-polies, which are crustaceans. Interesting.
Thank you for the clarification.
I think the only one that's fully adapted to live on land, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway,
Wealth of knowledge, this guy.
yeah,
Wow.
roly-polies. And, in my little brain, I guess I thought, well, I want to sell something. I want to be a part of this festival. I love people. I want to be out there. I want to be in the action. I always have wanted to be in the action. And the coolest thing I knew that I could get my hands on were roly-polies. So
There you go.
I put them in, and the sign says roly-polies, 25 cents, includes cup and dirt. And,
Nice.
and I think I made about $12.
God.
And this was for pet purposes.
That's what
you
I had
can't
in
fish
mind.
with a
Of course,
roly-poly.
but people had ant farms, right?
Yeah.
Well, ants, you can't roll them up and play marbles with them. I mean, roly-polies are better than that, so they can do everything that an ant farm can do.
Innovation.
But
at 5.
I do remember there was a little lady that came by and she says, "What are they for?" And I said, "They're just to have. They're cool. They're roly-polies. Have you ever seen them? They're amazing." And best character in A Bug's Life, by the way, the brothers that were acrobats, Italian
I haven't
acrobats.
seen
Oh
it.
God, so good.
Blake's seen only 5 movies.
Yeah.
We'll move on. That's
So
another
anyway, but
episode.
she said, "Can you eat them?" And I said, "I don't know. I mean, I think you can eat anything." And she bought 2 cups, so it may have been some crustacean soup that night,
With
like
the
a
dirt.
lobster bisque.
And he founded his dentistry with that money for
That's
the
right.
roly-polies.
But yeah, from there, I mean, it just never stopped, So it was trading baseball cards. It was cutting grass for people on into college. There was all kinds of side gigs. And that was the early days of online auction. I tore that up.
All right, so I want to go there if you'll let us. I understand that you were buying pallets of a certain software and selling them on eBay, which was brand new. Can you go there? I would love for our listeners to hear that.
Well, these were the early days
Yes.
of online auction. So Yahoo had some. There were like 6 different platforms. eBay ended up winning out and being the one everybody knows now. But this is pre-PayPal. This is before anybody even considered electronic moving of money whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually sent a money order in the mail, waited to get it, and then you got your stuff. But I saw this emerging technology of online auctions and thought, this is a way to make some money because I could take things from a local yard sale and now sell it to any collector.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for the hard to reach items that were hard to find, that were expensive, collectibles, things like that. I ended up buying a business license so I could buy wholesale sporting goods. And I was buying hard to find, nice left-handed golf clubs. Because if you went to the golf shop, they had your driver, but they didn't have it left-handed, or they didn't have it the right loft or whatever.
Wow.
So people would search for those things. And then that turned into me making antique golf replicas, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I was working at the mailboxes, et cetera, which is now a UPS store. And so I had all this packing material, and I sold all kinds of stuff. Sold some boats, sold some cars. But yeah, the software.
I mean, go there if you want
So
to.
yeah, there was a Microsoft Office, which that may have been like Office 98. I don't remember which
Windows
version.
95.
But yeah, everybody had to have it. You know, it had Excel and what else is on there? Word, and
Word, yeah.
PowerPoint. It was the ultimate business suite, right? And so I found a place where I could buy them, unbeknownst to me illegally. And they had the end user license agreement with them, so I thought it was legit because I was told by someone else that that's all you had to have to sell it. So I bought 10, $29 a piece or something like that, and sold them for like $110. So big money.
Oh, yeah.
Today, if you give me something that I can pay $25 and sell for $112, I'll do it all
You'll
day
still
long.
do it, yeah.
So especially if it takes 4 minutes to do so.
But you're going to check the legal stuff first. Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah.
You live and you learn.
So I buy the 10, sell them, it goes great. And then so naturally I buy 25 next. That goes great. And then I was like, man, the heck with this. I can hang college up. I'll just
Sling office.
So yeah, so I bought a bunch. I mean a bunch. And yeah, got a whole pallet of them and got, I don't know, 15 or 20 into the set of 250 or whatever
boy.
it was. And I get a letter from Microsoft that says, it was a cease and desist letter
Big day.
that said, you are not licensed to sell this. You're not an authorized reseller or whatever. You must stop immediately. And, you know, my little punk attitude was just like,
Yeah, right.
You're right.
yeah, big Microsoft.
Bill
is
Gates
worried
ain't gonna
about
find me.
Yeah, little Nate in Americus, Georgia. Yeah, what this is like an automated thing. A real human never even looked at my stuff. Of
course.
You know? And so I kept selling them, and then I don't know, maybe a month later, I go on to count my money in my eBay account, and I can't log in. They've shut it down. They suspended it for 30 days, and then I get another letter explaining what happened. And so, yeah, that was my first business lesson in legal repercussions for foul play. But interesting enough, my son, who's a computer programmer, he makes games for Roblox, that platform, which is a cool platform, publicly traded
Oh, yeah,
now.
it's sweet.
He got suspended last month. Lost
Like
all of
father,
his
like
stuff
son.
Wow.
because he was using what was it? It was music, I think, that he didn't have a right to. And we had the long discussion. I was like, "Hey, man, I've been there, been suspended, lost
It
some money
happens.
for it, learned some lessons, but
You couldn't have been
if
more
you're gonna
proud.
Play, I really was.
Heck yeah.
It was perfect. I mean, this is real life, man. You get out there and get your feet wet and go for
man.
it. But he was devastated, and I said, "Now you got to rebuild. You know, you're more experienced now than when you started. Your people will find you, but yeah, man, you got to play by the rules." So
Awesome.
anyway,
And this was his 3-year-old.
so right, yeah. I encourage them, man. You know, whatever they're into, we just go ham on it, and we go every week, and we get literally a box of 20 books from the library, and go back and forth. And whatever they're into, we just go nuts and chase after it, because that's the only way you're going to learn. You got to be into it.
But y'all are into some pretty cool things. Explain some of the, the patents that you and your kids have.
Oh yeah.
This is awesome.
Some of them have gone well. We've licensed some products. We do some 3D printing at home. We like to develop stuff. We build things, man. We're creators, and I don't know if other families do that. I don't know what normal is. I don't
Mine
know.
doesn't. Mine doesn't.
They don't.
But yeah, it's great. That is our form of education. It's let's problem solve, build things, and figure out how to sell them.
Good gracious.
So there you go.
And here I was like, well, let's ask him about the glass blowing. But man, there's too much.
Yeah.
Nate, you're like a 4-part episode. Do touch on the glass blowing, because while you were at college, you were selling the world, you were learning business, and you were blowing glass and making
Yeah.
beautiful art.
Yeah. That was my recreation and great side business.
Of course it is.
And so, which is the way I like to do business, something that's life-giving and fun. But yeah, if you figure out how to sell it, great. But, and I got to say, I don't want to sound like, bad, like I'm some sort of money-hungry guy.
No.
I don't really care about having stuff. I don't really care about amassing tons of wealth or whatever. I just like the game of making money. I like making things, creating, and I like figuring out. I love the marketing. I love the sales. I love all of it. So I don't want to give off this perception that I'm some sort of big wealthy tycoon or something. I don't have any real big hits. I just have lots of small ones, and that's the way I like to do life. I'm a man of variety.
Well, we haven't even talked about your day job, which is you eventually became a dentist, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to get into that? And you've had some changes in the last year or so where I guess you've been freed up to do some more things that you want to do.
Yeah, well, I don't think I ever really wanted to do dentistry. It just made a lot of sense. I was always somebody that grew up and watched the behavior of people around me and noticed patterns. Mm-hmm. And I noticed a lot of things about relationships and careers and temperaments and personalities. And it seemed like when I really laid it all out, that was a career that made sense for what I wanted to do, which was be open to a big family, to be able to play and make stuff on the side, but not necessarily take big risks. So as far as how many days you worked and how much money you made, that was a very sensible career. So if you're going to be a serial entrepreneur, you need time and money, and that career would afford that most readily in my mind. So I didn't expect to get in. I was a terrible student in high school and put it together in college, but super competitive. They gave me an interview, and I was like, well, if I can get in the room with somebody, I can get a spot, So I felt like once they gave me the interview, I could seal the deal, and they gave me a spot. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. Bought a practice and did that for a while and worked full-time for a while. And 2 years ago, took a sabbatical, which I've been planning for about 10 years. I wanted to do that when I turned 40 and just dialed it way back and worked 2 days a week all year and decided to use the other time to work on some of the other ancillary things that I enjoy more. And at the end of the year, I asked my wife what she wanted to do, and she said, this feels good. Mm-hmm. Let's keep doing this. And I was able to replace all the income that I, lost from cutting the schedule in half because it was 4 days before. And so, yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. Let's keep doing this. This feels better, and family's doing fine. So I get to do less of what I dislike and more of what I like.
You got a few kids coming behind you with so many inventions that you could pretty much let them support mom and dad at this point.
I hope so. If we can keep them out of suspension and out of prison, copyright
another video game, son.
What's funny about going to Nate's house is when you walk in, he's got a great room there and a family portrait over the fireplace. And every time I go in, there's a new child added.
That's right.
Are they photoshopped in this thing?
Yeah.
Or are you doing a new version?
I've got a guy on Fiverr that just sticks them in there, cut and paste. Yeah.
He's on retainer.
Yeah, that's just what we do, and I lose track of them
that's
too.
What
but
we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, so we have 6 now with one on the way. You guys, this is news to you.
All right.
News to me very recently. So
congratulations.
We're doing it again, man.
All right.
What? Congrats.
You heard it here, folks.
Is this true? This is a true story?
Yeah, man. Number 7.
I knew it.
En route.
I knew it.
So, we're just, everybody's going to spend time and money on something. We just decided kids would be all right. So
it's a heck of an investment. I love it.
So we're doing that, and it takes a lot, but yeah, it's alienating in some sense because all of my friends are done with small children. Everybody's kind of moved on, and they're doing older kid stuff and different stage of family life. And the younger people that are just now having newborns, you can't really relate. There's a big age gap. So we're in a weird place socially, and we're a lot. You're not going to invite us over because there's too many of us, It takes a lot of courage to do that. So it's weird to say you're kind of lonely, but at the same time, you're surrounded with all the people that you love. So you're not really lonely. It's just kind of strange,
Yeah.
but we're doing it, making the best of it. And I think it's what we're supposed to be doing. So that feels good.
And not everyone can get away with this. I heard a quote the other day. I think it was like Socrates or something said, good relationships come from building terms to agreements, right?
Yeah.
And laying those out. You have an awesome wife, Sunny. Shout out to Sunny.
She's a machine.
She's made for this.
Absolutely.
Talking about processes, everything.
She is a process person.
She's the
geez,
process
man.
queen.
Yes.
And king.
All about systems.
And
Yes.
imagine the systems and processes that you guys put together for child number 1, 2, 3, and how much better and how 4, 5, 6, and now 7 you're just getting better at it, right?
Yeah. Well, at this point too, with good systems, that's the thing. That's why we're really unafraid as far as having another child. The tribe can raise a child at this point. The systems are in place.
Right.
Everybody knows the processes. You just drop in line and it'll probably work out. I had an interesting conversation with the warden at the maximum security prison in Calhoun, and because I was going over there helping them out with some of their surgery because they cannot get a dentist down here, and the need is massive. There's over 1,000 guys that live there.
Oh, I figured you were just checking in.
Well, occasionally
Probation.
but
New software.
But anyway, I asked him because the guys, I have less drama going there than I did at my own office.
Oh, yeah.
Like I actually look forward to going there. The guys were appreciative,
They're grateful. Yeah.
They were patient, they were grateful. They never complained, and no mamas, no insurance,
No problems in the waiting
Yeah,
room.
It was cool, and I actually enjoyed being with them. I never looked at their record because I knew it would affect the way I treated them, and I wanted to be kind and I wanted to be fair, and I didn't want anybody to come after me. But
Good call.
But anyway, I asked the warden, how does this work? How do you get the worst dudes on the planet to come in here and behave like this, to wait in line, to be polite, all this stuff? And he said, it's real simple. All the systems are in place. Everybody here follows the system. And when a new guy comes in, he just falls right in line. If you get 10 at a time and they're in a tribe and they come in together, it's a disaster. We don't take them like that. He said, or if you let one dorm get a little out of hand, you got 5 guys in that one dorm, the whole wing
You
will
lose
be
them all.
destroyed.
Yeah.
But he's like, as long as you have good systems and you have quote unquote leaders, doing it, modeling it, you can drop an axe murderer into that thing and it work. And it was like, oh, geez, that's so true. It's amazing. So regardless of if it's a home or a corporation or a prison,
Right.
you drop somebody in there and they're gonna do what everybody else is doing as long as the systems work. And it's pretty cool, man.
I knew Sonny was the real deal when I went over there one time, and he's got these cabinets in his kitchen. Sonny pulls out a Ziploc bag of batteries. I was like, so do you just put battery? No, she's like, no, these are the ones that have been half used that can still be used. They're at 60% life.
Those go to the remote control.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There's only one thing I dislike about my wife, and it's that battery bag. I'm
throw it
about
out,
to go
baby.
on a hunting trip. I'm going to be 4 miles out in the wilderness. I don't need a half used. Is this a 20%er or an 85?
Well, you should have known not to get it out of the 20%
That's
bag.
right. That's right. No,
That's the system.
Does Sonny have a junk drawer? I bet she doesn't
No.
even have a junk. Everybody's
she doesn't
got the
have
junk.
junk.
drawer.
There's no
she
junk.
does not have junk. If it's not useful, it's gone.
Yeah.
She has no attachments to stuff like that. She has attachments to people, but no, man. She is so fast to get rid of something if it's not being used, or if we have too many of them. It's like, we need one of those. Why do we have 3? Gone. So she donates weekly stuff, and it's a constant purge. But she's got a system for if something comes in, something's got to go out. So we never have an excess of junk. And there's a lot of us living there. We can't. It doesn't work well for everybody to have junk. So yeah, everything in the house has a purpose, and we just don't accumulate things like that. And as far as our spending and gifts and stuff like that, we'd rather have experiences than stuff.
Absolutely.
So that's what we do. It works out.
You think that's been tied to your success and happiness? I mean, God, you're so eclectic, but when I think about you, I don't think about things like you said, and like gathering boats. You could have boats and cars or whatever, but I still think about you and kind of minimalism and essentialism and keeping those things important. Do you think that's been a part of your success over the last 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of times we talk about happiness, and everybody's got that goal of, whatever makes me happy, and they're chasing this thing, but it's really a silly goal. I mean, it's an ever evading enigma that you're chasing, and you can't have it. You can't keep it. It's fleeting. So sometimes you're happy, but sometimes you're not going to be happy. You're not happy when somebody dies or when some tragedy happens. So I think the goal is peace. And I may mention that in the book, but what makes a peaceful life? Well, there's certain things that you know are not peaceful. Well, maybe you should ruthlessly eliminate those things and get to a point where, you know, you can go with the flow. And even when something bad happens, you can peacefully navigate it instead of being just strung out and burnt out and stressed out and whatever. But there's all these triggers, man. Everybody's got all these triggers. And if every day you come in and you trip over the shoes and you get mad at the kids and then you kick the dog and then you have to go have a drink to settle down, it's like, maybe you should have a system for shoes.
Right. It all builds up.
You know, but everybody has those things. And so I think we've made peace the goal, and the kids know that's the goal of the house. That's what we're doing. So anything that violates that is in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you don't bring in 10 kids at a time. You bring in one at a time.
That's
They'll
right.
fall
One
right
at a
in line.
time and follow the system.
It's a good
That's
philosophy.
right. Yeah. Leave your weapons at the door.
Support for this show is brought to you by the fine folks over at Pray It Forward. You know, sometimes you see something that's funny or it's inspirational or it just sparks you to do something good. I just saw a Pray for Elon t-shirt. Now, it made me giggle, and then it made me stop and think. I probably need to pray for the guy. Pray for Elon. A simple message, but it was effective. And I'm about to go buy one at PIFIFY.com. That's the Pray It Forward website. PIFIFY.com. Buy one of these for yourself and one for your friends. A silky smooth premium crew neck t-shirt, vintage black or charcoal. It's just a fun way to remind you to pray for those who are in the public eye. Pray It Forward at PIFIFY.com. Remember to use the promo code PROCESS, that's right, PROCESS, to get 25% off of your first order.
Another thing I love about Nate is how much he values relationships. You you have a good person in front of you when you talk to anyone and they think they're best friends with Nate.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They're clamoring.
They're so close. It comes from you valuing relationships and not just, scratching the surface. When you and I get together and I see you talking to other people, we're not talking about the weather, right?
Yeah.
We're going deep. And
Yeah.
that's what makes relationships fun. What are your thoughts on relationships and really, becoming a healthier person through relationships?
Yeah. I think that some sort of period of self-reflection and honest evaluation has to be a part of your daily systems, certainly your weekly systems. But where we get in trouble, I think, mostly with all relationship problems is when we get selfish. And, relationships fall apart when it's all about me. And I think when we realize that things are going sideways, if we were to sit down and look at it, we would see the root of this is selfishness. And I'm a big believer in quiet time and sitting down and sorting through and contending with the hard things about myself. And I think there's value in that. So part of it, I think, is the process of evaluating. At the end of the day, okay, where did I get triggered? Why am I angry at this person? Why does every time that person walk in the room, I get, but you got to sort that out. And so I honestly think, and this is not, to toot my own horn or whatever, but I love people. I don't think you can fake that part, but I'm genuinely interested in what you're doing. And I want to be a part of it. And I want us to do life together. I think we're all very isolated and everybody's got fake virtual friends and all this stuff. But what I really want is to spend time with you and your kids and your wife and be close enough so when something goes sideways, we do have support, and we've done that for each other.
Absolutely.
So I think you got to realize when things aren't tight and you don't have good relationships, you're probably the problem.
Yeah.
Do you think everybody likes to curse the darkness and talk about how bad and how crazy the world is? But I think you just hit the nail on the head. They're looking for a relationship with somebody that is beyond politics, beyond the surface stuff. And I think one of the things that I think your book is an attempt to do, and I know you're not stopping, but to get that good word out that, hey, people love you and people want to know, even if you're across the aisle or you have different, I hate it when people say I'm a registered whatever. Okay, cool. You want to go fishing?
Right.
I think
Yeah, you want
that's
to talk
where
about
you
it?
are. Yeah.
Well, I think too that, you know, there is a human need, and there's a whole chapter about human needs in the book, but there's a human need for significance and for certainty. And some people, the way they get significance is to be the loudest person in the room, to pick fights, to argue. You know, we're in this weird place now where I think people feel intelligent by attacking people and arguing with them. And that's not a good place to be. But the patterns that are getting repeated and the behaviors are meeting a need. The question is which one. And can you remove that? You have a deficit there. You have a need, a hunger for that thing. Well, what could you put in that place that's beneficial but not so harmful? And again, that takes some serious, honest self-reflection to get there. But I just think everybody, when they're face to face, would get along a whole lot better if we're in the same room and we are in total opposing views about this subject or that subject. That's one thing. But sitting behind a social media platform and fighting with strangers is a stupid premise. I mean, nobody's winning. And I've pretty much opted out of all of that stuff, you know, and I have a system for social media. You know, I'll download the Instagram app. I'll browse it for a few minutes. I'll check all the mentions and stuff. People send me messages all the time. That's where I primarily get messages about the book or, you know, even speaking gigs and things like that. So I'll check it and then I'll delete that. But I don't need that as a distraction.
Hold on. Like every time you're going to go back in, you have to like
Yes.
force yourself to download
Yes.
the app again.
Yes.
That's a good.
Which by default
Wow.
means I'm not just doing it out of boredom.
Sure.
Doing it with a purpose.
Because if it's there all the time and you check it, well, that 2 minutes turns into whatever, and I don't need that. I don't, you know.
Yeah, you're getting
it's
dopamine from other places.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's not recreational for me to do it. It's an amusement, you know, like Aristotle talks about the difference between rest and recreation, leisure and amusements. Well, it's an amusement for me to do 3 or 4 minutes of that, check some messages, but I don't want to get stuck there. And I definitely don't want it to sit there on Twitter or whatever. I check news on Twitter sometimes. I don't want to sit there and stew over idiots.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to get dragged into the mud. So it's
Sure.
just like, yeah, I have a process for that. I like to check in and delete it, and it's out. So it's like a 6-minute commitment now if
Right,
you
right.
want
Get
to
in
do
there.
it.
Right.
So the majority of the time, I just don't.
You got to be intentional about it.
Sure.
Yeah, but otherwise, man, if you don't have processes for life, personal life, business life, all of it, you end up in the middle. You end up with the default. And look around. I mean, do you really want to be a part of what everybody else is doing? It's not working.
No.
It's not working on any level. So I think you have to be willing to be a contrarian. And, you know, I think a lot of people probably think I'm a little crazy and a little out there and a little ADD and whatever, but it's intentional. I'm not just bebopping along. It's very calculated.
Yeah, and you're also awesome at everything. So, like, do you have like a vision for your life when you wake up that's clear? And I ask that because, you know, and it's kind of frustrating, honestly, because if you go hunting with Nate, he's going to kill the biggest deer.
No doubt.
We went gator hunting several years ago. We killed the biggest gator in Georgia that year, I believe.
And that was on his plan.
Yeah, if he
planned
walks
to do
into
it.
a room, you know, in Las Vegas, 4 people know him. You know, is that intentional? You know, to be great at every single thing you do? Does that tie into your vision when you wake up? Do you have a clear, you know, what I would consider a vision or a vision statement?
I think the grand vision is I want to be a cool old man. I want to be the guy that throughout life, if my name comes up, you're like, I remember that guy. He was cool. You know, he showed me some love or whatever. Or be the guy that, you know, the kids want to come over and talk or go fishing or whatever. But like, you know, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I want to be a cool old man. That's about it. And I think it's going to take 70 years of consistency to get to that point. So that's kind of a cheap answer, but that's the truth.
That's fantastic.
But the rest of it is, you know, day to day, I want to improve. I want to grow. I want to be a part of people's lives. I don't want to be so busy that I can't give you full attention. I think that's the greatest gift you can give anybody right now and the most flattering thing in the world, to give you full attention. Like, who gives you that? So, yeah, if you call and say, hey, Nate, you want to have a beer? Heck yeah. And I'm doing nothing else tonight. It's me and you, man.
Right.
And so there's a lot of that. But as far as being good at stuff, I think a lot of times people think that I'm just lucky because they don't see the work.
Right. Right.
Like, oh, you kill the biggest deer every
That's
year.
where I'm
You
going,
lucky
yeah.
son of a gun, blah. I'm like, well, I'm hunting smaller acreage than you. I'm going far less than you. I'm using old, outdated equipment, whatever. At some point, maybe you should say, hey, will you teach me something? Because
Right.
it seems like you might know something.
Yeah.
But you don't get credit for that kind of stuff. I put a lot of time in,
Right.
and I do understand a lot about how to find them and what to do. And, so I don't know. If I'm doing it, I want to be good at it.
Sure.
And sometimes I have to cut things out when they get obsessive, or, okay, to go to the next level, it's going to take this much more time. That's where I am with pickleball.
Yeah.
As a newbie, I was doing really, really great. And I've climbed the ranks pretty quick. And now it's like, to go to the next level, I'm going to have to play 3 or 4 days a week. I'm out.
Well, you've built, I've gone through this course called Habit of Ferocity. It's really about grit. And a lot of people now are talking about grit and what that takes. Why is Michael Jordan so good, or LeBron James, or, these professional athletes? And what it is building a threshold, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you put the average human inside of Nate right now, they couldn't handle it. Right. It's about pushing those thresholds and those boundaries. I feel like you've done that for so long, that kind of sense of greatness. It's like every single day is being pushed. And I'm not saying you don't chill or have fun. I just feel like you do so much, the average person can't handle it.
Well, I think there's something to where the limit is, and you've got to be willing to push the limit. I've never really been afraid of bombing. I don't put big money out front, like stuff that if it went bad, it would really hurt my family or something like that. I'm not a risky guy. Some people think I am. I'm actually pretty risk averse, but that limit, you have to be willing to push to the limit to know where it is. And I think most people operate at about 80% of their capacity, whether it's their relationships or personal endurance or business, whatever. And you have more in the tank. You've just never asked to test it.
Yep.
But, push it until it breaks, and then you figure out where the limit is. But every time you do that, you've got more endurance, you've got more skills. Every year you should look back and realize how stupid and how unloving and how lazy you were last year, And I do have a lot of downtime. I think I have more downtime than anybody I know in my immediate life that's my age right now, because I value that. But I don't think people know that about me. I think they think I just burn it hot all the time and just go bananas. But,
it's because you're not zapping Cheetos on the couch and drinking, Coors Lights.
And you're intentional and systematic.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no waste.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's probably the thing. And yeah, if I'm going to take time off, I'm going to make it count. I value leisure. I value recreation like crazy. I love to play. I try to get everybody to play with me in some capacity, and sometimes that's hard to do because people have forgotten how to play. But I think that's a really important part of life that, even at the office, man, you take a break and go outside and throw the baseball together while you talk about whatever that thing is. But you can't just sit in here all day in front of your computer. It's, men can't do that.
Absolutely.
I can't.
Let's get down a little bit into the weeds. I love asking this question, and especially since you formulated this book, and I don't want to give it all away, but I want to hear about a day in the life. Like I want to hear it all. You wake up and what happens in a normal average day of Nate Dallas.
I think it's always interesting that everybody wants to know about the morning routine and stuff like that. I think the takeaway is that everybody that is successful has one.
Right.
The components of it are not necessarily to be mimicked or,
Right.
or copied because it's got to work for you. But for me, it's my coffee's prepared the night before, so when I wake up, it's ready to go, and put a little butter in it. So until usually 10 o'clock or so, I don't have any sugar, any carbs. So I'm in a state of ketosis, which is really great for cognitive ability and focus and that sort of stuff. I love it. So yeah, I get my coffee with some fat in it, and I sit down. In the first hour of the day, I'm just sitting. And I sit there with my coffee, and I allow my mind to just go. And some of that is useful processing. Some of it is just relaxing. Some of it may be gratitude or prayer or whatever. I don't put any pressure on that hour. It exists just to be. And I like to start the day like that because I think as the day goes on, it's harder to get back to that place where you can actually chill. But in the morning it works. So I do that for an hour. And then the kids come downstairs, and Sunny comes downstairs, and she's doing her own devotion, that sort of stuff, that first half hour of her day. And then, yeah, it's helping getting everybody ready in the morning and doing the family stuff, get that out of the way, and get everybody off to the races. And then whatever the task is that day, work-wise, goes, and I batch things. I do, a couple hours of this, and then there's going to be a hard stop. That's over. It can't drool into everything else, you know, and I try to have boundaries and compartmentalize things so that all the attention goes on this one thing, and then it's over. And that's it. We're not coming back to that again, So that works for me. And then at some point, there's going to be some outdoor stuff. I like to be outside barefooted. I like to get fresh air. I make that a part of the day. Some sort of physical activity where I'm going to sweat, So it's not so rigid that, it's at 10:30, it's this, and at 9:30,
Right.
But all of these things are going to happen during the day. And yeah, I don't know if that's a very good answer, but
No, that's great.
Great answer.
that's kind of it. And I read in the evening before bed, and I try to get my 8 hours of sleep and try to obey circadian rhythm and keep in a good sleep pattern.
What's the last purchase you've made? Let's say under a couple of $100. It could be $10 that has been beneficial to you in your day-to-day life.
I left my bag in the truck, or I would show you a $12 item. This
We'll put
is
it
my
on the
favorite right
screen.
now.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
I think there were some trademark issues or something because it's changed names a few times. But it is a rubber frisbee about this big. It was called a zip chip at one time. It's called a dynamic disc.
I know what you're talking about.
It's
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
I literally keep it in my back pocket until Sonny said it looks like you have a can of dip
There you go.
because it's that size.
Avoid the appearance.
And she was like, I really don't like seeing that in your back pocket.
You got rings in your jeans.
Yeah,
from the
yeah. But
zip
anyway,
chip.
that thing, man, I just bust it out all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're outside, sometimes even indoors, and I'll just nod at somebody and say, hey, man, catch, and I'll throw it. And it's the most satisfying thing to play catch with this.
So
And
with
it
a
can't-
stranger.
Yeah, and it can't tear anything up. It's rubber.
Right.
But, I mean, you can rip it like 60 yards if you want to.
Yeah.
But that's the best purchase I've made lately. I've got like 10 of them now because after we play, everybody wants one. So I'm
Right.
like, just keep that one. I got another one.
Oh,
But,
man. That's awesome.
Not technology. It's a play toy. But
I
yeah.
will have 6 of them next
Yeah,
week.
Oh, yeah.
that's you giving away the book. That's what I'm doing now. I'm giving away zip chips.
Hey, Grandma, heads up.
Yeah.
Chip. Boom.
What's
right in the
funny
forehead.
is one of my boys said, "How much did you pay for this thing?" I said, "They're $12." He goes, "Oh, geez, there's like 20 cents worth of rubber in that. We could make those."
I love it. I love
Pull
that
out
he's
the
thinking
3D
that way.
printer.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think that would be a good answer. I'd have to think more on something better than that.
He'll probably get another letter if he keeps going down that path.
That's
but
right.
you know
Yeah,
what?
when I start selling them.
That's right.
Something else fun
The
about
dip
Nate
chip.
is that's right. Something else fun
Got
about
snuff
Nate is
inside.
he was the first I knew to jump on the 3D printer
Yep.
game.
First 3D printer I ever saw was Nate's.
Oh,
And,
that's
and
cool.
you've had
Yeah.
some crazy stuff. What's the coolest thing you've thrown through the 3D printer?
Oh, man. This one never made it to market, but I made, in my field of dentistry, the thing people hate the most is an injection. Everybody's scared of a shot, No, you can have somebody that's got 44 tattoos on their neck and eyes, everywhere.
Tough
But
guys.
don't give me a dental
needle.
injection.
Yeah.
The guy's shooting heroin every day. Like, I don't want it
Between
in
his
a medical
toes.
setting. But or getting their 4th vaccine booster, and then they have a nervous breakdown in my chair. But anyway, so I thought, why hasn't someone made a syringe that doesn't look like one? They all look like medieval torture devices.
right.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
It's like a
and
Marilyn
I can give
Manson
the
music
injection.
video.
You've been the recipient of a few. You don't even know it happened.
Right.
I can give it totally painlessly, but if you see it,
Can.
it's immediate anxiety, and then we've got a problem, especially on the kids. And there's a lot of adults that act like maniacs too. But anyway, so I decided the first thing we're doing is we're putting a topical on, a little cream to numb the spot where we're going to give the injection. So I thought, okay, what if the syringe was hidden inside of something else? We could
Was the
make it
topical.
like a paintbrush.
Yeah.
You dip in the topical, we paint it on, and then the very next thing is me coming with the same device, and now I push it through the bristles. You never see the needle. It doesn't look like a syringe. And so I printed several prototypes to get this dialed in so it would fit the little carpule and everything, and all the threads would be right.
Copyright
And so-
2022 Nate
So
Dallas.
yeah, so I have the paintbrush syringe in plastic, and I've presented it to several different people, because one of the things y'all know I like to do is license products and ideas and stuff and let somebody else deal with it. Just send me a check in the mail. But hadn't had anybody pick it up yet. I still think it's a great idea. But that
It
one
is a great
that
idea.
one, yeah, I had 4 different parts that then have to go together. So that was a printing challenge, but it's pretty cool. It works.
That is
I'm on the phone with Nate one day, and he was like, those earbuds that Apple's just released. I've come up with a device. I don't.
Oh yeah, the strap.
Where did that go?
So, all right. First
And we
off,
can edit this
you know,
if I
a
need to.
lot of guys, especially Southern guys, have these things on their sunglasses. Like cables
The
or
Croakies,
croakies.
yeah.
Well, when the are they AirPods?
AirPods. Yeah.
Okay. So when the AirPods first came out, I just thought, okay, everybody's going to buy these. Apple's forcing you to get them by taking out the headphone jack,
And they're going to lose them.
and they're going to lose the heck
Yep.
out of them, and they're expensive.
Yep.
So there needs to be something that goes around your neck so that when you take them off, you don't lose them. Or if you're on the job and your pocket's full of sawdust or something, you don't want to put it in there. And so, yeah, I thought these already exist for sunglasses. We just need to modify it just a little bit. And so, yeah, I reached out to the guy that owns cables and told him they're about to sell the heck out of these things. We need to modify very slightly what you're already doing. Either I'll buy the materials from you and I'll do it all myself, or I'll want to license it to you and do it that way. And he was like, well, it sounds like a great idea. Let me look into it, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But he was in the middle of a massive lawsuit with another company that had just ripped him off.
Wow.
And he said, I think it is patentable, and I think that we could do it. He said, but the problem is somebody's going to copy it, and then we're
Then we
going to
gotta
have to
sue
sue
'em.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like, I am done
Right.
with lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
like
long game.
it's ridiculous. They knew the deal. You still have to fight it. It's still going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he's like, honestly, man, I'm just too tired. And I was like, come on, man, it's right there. And then I said, well, just sell me the stuff then, and I'll do it myself and rebrand it. But he didn't really like that idea. He
bet.
wanted to be involved, but not really. So yeah, I just said, well, maybe not what I want to get into. I didn't want to build it from scratch and do it all myself. That's for
Right.
sure. So anyway, yeah,
You gotta
never made of one, Tracy.
Wow.
I'm disappointed you
I
on
was,
that one.
I was hoping. I've got some yarn that I'm using now. It's good.
Yeah.
You got 1,000 things going on. You're a built-in coach. You're a built-in relational teacher. That led you to some pretty cool speaking gigs. Anybody who's done anything knows of TED Talks. I need speech therapy here.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Anyway, tell me about the TED Talk experience and how that led up, how it happened.
Well, I tell you, if I had known how permanent that was and thought about it, I don't own the content. It just gets
Right.
parked on the internet forever.
Wow.
I would have probably thought a lot more about that presentation and maybe done a little better job. But there were 3 different things lined up that week. I was speaking at a dental conference, and then doing the TED Talk and speaking at my best friend's funeral that week.
Tough
And it
one.
was like, okay, well, of those three, the TED Talk, I'm not getting paid to do it. I'm not emotionally attached to it. That's just a thing. So I didn't really give it enough attention, but I was excited and flattered to be asked to come do it because I've consumed a lot of those and there's some really neat stuff. A little bit of pressure there to perform, but like I said, it was a volunteer thing. They asked me to do it. But so I went down there and met a lot of really cool people. This was in Tallahassee, and cool event. You get to hear, 8 or 10 talks during the day, all really, really neat stuff. That's the only reason people get invited, because they got something cool to talk about. And that was fun. And I don't know how many views the thing's had, 50,000 or something. And it's still going, and I still get messages all the time. People
What
saying,
was
"I
the
just saw it."
subject?
Permission to fail.
That's right. Yes.
So just having the courage to, it was really about encouraging somebody you love, or your child or your brother or whoever, to go for it.
Yeah.
And it's okay if it doesn't work, but you need to try it. If you have a hunger to build something or a curiosity or whatever, don't let that get trained out of you. I mean, everybody is playful and creative until the education system sucks it out of you.
Right.
But I was just saying, give people permission. And if you fail, you haven't failed. You've learned something and you've experienced something that's valuable. So, I'm just encouraging people to allow other people to fail in front of you and applaud it instead of, scrutinize it.
We should have gotten permission to fail before we started this dang show.
That's right. So those things are like 16 minutes or something. Was that nerve-wracking to prepare for? Isn't it like a hard stop kind of thing?
Yeah, but they make you rehearse it multiple times.
Oh, really?
With
So you're
some
ready.
of the directors and stuff. So they keep
They make sure you're in the
you
window.
boxed in.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll give you cues
they're
if you're
cueing you.
running over. But they're pretty serious about that time thing. But they have a system. They know what works. They've had millions of these talks. They've analyzed all the analytics. And they don't want you just on and on and on about nothing. I mean, most books could be blog posts, and most blog posts could be tweets.
Could be
Yeah.
tweets.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
just sandwich it all in there and get it tight. So that was fun though. I don't know. That's probably 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember when we did that.
He's done it all, dude.
He
He has
has.
done it all. What's the next 5 years look like for Nathan?
Well, I don't know, and that's the beauty of it. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Don't know what I'm being called to do or what I need to do. I just know what I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep not doing those things
Yeah, it's awesome.
and kind of see where the rest goes. But I'm open for options. I'm going to keep building stuff. I took my little sabbatical, dialed things down a little bit, and I'm getting hungry again. I'm getting a little itchy. So I'm starting to launch a few more things and, doing some other stuff. I'm going to start writing again. I'm going to probably put out a workbook to be the companion of this so that you can have exercises to go through it. Working on that right now, doing some real estate stuff. Got a little sign business that I'm working on and equipment rental business that I'm working on. But I hope to do less dentistry and continue to add more of the other stuff. And the coaching is fun. I enjoy that, but there's a limit to it. It gets heavy,
Yeah.
and you just can't carry everybody's burdens all the time. So I'll kind of open it up for a little while, and then when it starts getting really heavy, I have to say, I'm sorry, man, you have to find somebody else. But I love doing that. Really love doing it.
And you're so good at it, man.
Well,
you're
thanks.
You're a natural.
Thanks. I like seeing people move,
Yeah.
And most people, when they're getting in touch with me, they're in a bad place, and I want to help. But, dude, people are hurting.
Yeah, I
Everybody's
called
hurting.
Nate. He's like, "What's wrong, dude?" What can I do?
I call him. He's like, "What now?"
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He
So
doesn't
speaking
know.
of heavy, I want to play a game. Let's
All right.
play a game.
let me explain it to you before we go. It's really easy. We call it first class or bus pass.
Man, I know the show. I
You've
know how
seen the
this
show.
works.
He might be one of
done
our
his
viewers.
research.
I tell you, though, I do have a problem with this game because I feel like there's so much gray area. I need
Yeah.
to quantify some of these things.
Well,
You can.
We'll see
You
what
can
happens.
quantify.
You can.
All right,
but it
all
can't be
right.
gray. It's
So
first class.
Play
or
the
bus
theme
pass.
music. Let's do this.
All right, theme music's rolling here. Blake, go for it.
First class or bus pass? Krispy Kreme donuts.
first class. If you're gonna have a donut, that's the only one.
Amen.
You know, you remember when they first started Krispy Kreme on the West Coast and everybody was losing their minds, waiting miles to get the donut. It's superior. Nobody compares.
Yeah,
Dunkin' is a joke.
Yeah. I'm not
yeah.
looking for cake, right?
No,
I'm
I don't
looking
like
for
cake.
a donut.
I mean, I like
Right.
cake, but
That's right.
hey, one question: Have you had one before? Have you had a glazed donut before it goes through the glaze?
No.
It will change your life.
All three.
All three. I'm going to have three of them.
Will
It
change
will
your life.
change your life. Listen, I'm serious. You just wait. I don't go there a lot. I mean, you
you
think
have
fat
like a
guys there
personal
every-
connection to stop the line and
Well,
get
I'm
in
a per-
there
I'm a-
with the
I'm
hook.
That's right.
I'm a relational guy. I learned it from you. But you can just talk to the guys. Like, hey, ma'am,
I
if you
just gotta
wouldn't
have
mind,
one.
I get 6 anyway.
Just plain
Yeah,
hot.
pre-line.
Try it out.
You
Pre-line.
know, I
You
think
heard it
I'd
here
probably like
first.
that better.
It is amazing.
'Cause
It'll
it's a
change
little
your
too
life.
rich.
I don't even eat them anymore.
So I've
with
got a friend who has a lot of kids, none of which have ever had a Krispy Kreme donut. They're
Sounds
like
a lot like your family.
vegan all the way, organic everything,
Sure,
whatever.
this is you.
And I was talking about it, and I was like, "You guys, I mean, I
You
know
gotta
this
do it.
is like sacrilege in your household, but you've got to have one. Got to have one." And I
Did they?
finally talked them into doing it. We went at it, and they're like,
Oh my
"What
God.
is
What
this?"
is it? Man, it's warm. That hot and ready signs
It's
on.
good for the soul,
gracious.
but I think you got to have one. Anything beyond that, it's just too indulgent, man.
I asked a guy.
All right, first class.
Yeah.
I asked a guy. I was like, "Hey, what is it like when that light comes on?" He said, "Man, I hate it when that damn thing comes on."
Well, I
hate
saw
it.
him running
'Cause
the
people are like,
factory one time, and I said, "Hey, you gonna turn the light on?" She goes, "Are you out of your mind? You know what that does? when we
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
we
they
get-
think. Like,
we
I
get
hate it when that
customers.
thing goes.
we have to work."
The owner loves it. All right, go ahead.
All right.
Next question.
Boxed wine.
Oh, this is a tough one. I think they've come a long way. I'm going to go first class there.
All right.
The some people just want mass wine, cheap wine, and there's something for that. But yeah, man, I like the box for a lot of reasons. I don't drink a lot of wine anymore. You know, I used to be a
Yeah,
wine
oh, yeah.
guy. But yeah, I'm gonna keep that on top of the list.
You got to slap that bag. Things made in the USA.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to say bus pass. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed on some of that. I think we're missing some opportunities there, but I'm still hopeful that there can be a resurgence.
Next, dentures.
We
You know-
tailor these for you.
You know, you gotta go bus pass. I don't want to get myself in trouble here. A lot of people love wear them.
Board certified.
But you don't want them. You don't want them. It's a bad deal. And by the time you get there, there's probably been a whole lot of things you could have done differently. Bus pass, man.
Speaking of done differently, next, oil pulling.
God, don't get me started. Absolutely bus pass.
It's not good. It's not great
No,
for you.
it's total heresy.
Everybody's zipping
I love
around
it.
saying this is the best
You know,
thing you can do.
everybody wants to do something weird.
Yeah.
They want
And
to
that's
feel
one of 'em.
special. Oh, you use regular this and that. No, I pull oil. There's no oil. There's no pulling. There's nothing. You're just sitting there with charcoal in your mouth like a moron. No,
So what you're saying is bus pass.
it's bus pass, 100%, man. There's billions of dollars that goes into toothpaste research. Buy you a tube.
NFTs.
NFTs are currently bus pass with the potential to be first class. I like the idea. I think that people got a little too excited too early. And, I was a fan of
Yeah.
Ethereum early. When did I tell you to buy it? 34 bucks
If that.
or something like
Yeah.
that, 24 bucks. But
That's how I paid for this building.
yeah, there
by
you
the
go.
way.
Well, you got to have a system. You got to have a process
right.
for when to sell.
That's right.
That's
That can
very
be a problem.
important.
I know.
But yeah, we could talk about processes for investing like crazy, man. But yeah, I think everybody had Ethereum and they were dying for something to use it on because it grows so fast and everybody's rich in Ethereum. And that was the first thing that you could buy with it. And everybody goes ham on, 8-bit images of monkeys.
Right. Yeah,
and
they,
it's like,
come out with
that's
like
not it,
an
man.
Atari game. Hey,
Yeah.
let's put 8 trillion in this thing
Yeah,
and we
well,
come out with an Atari
I'm
game.
sitting there watching it thinking, geez, I need a marketplace to sell things with Ethereum because everybody wants to buy stuff with it.
Yeah.
And that's all we came up with?
That's
Monkey images? Wow.
They're good monkeys, though, dude.
Yeah,
They're
well,
sweet.
and I'm just not smart enough.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm on the fringe on that one.
Last one, Top Gun.
Bus pass, man. I know that's not going to go over
I'm
well.
with
My
it.
boy.
It's too
No,
far.
don't say that. You
I love
that
airplane.
stuff.
No, I love the jets. I love the airplanes. Tom Cruise is 812 years old, and it's all too far fetched.
I feel like when we're having to go back,
Ugh.
when NSYNC is having to have a new tour,
Don't tell Sonny this.
or Tom Cruise has got to
KOTB,
be
yeah.
Maverick again. Like, are we just out of ideas?
Yes.
Really?
The answer is yes.
We got to go back for the cheap hit, the nostalgic hit. No, man. And it wasn't that good to start
begin with.
It was that phase of life.
Yeah.
You were so jacked about it, And hey, man, I had my little jacket my leather jacket with the fuzzy collar.
An
I
aviator.
was Maverick.
At the end of the day, we need one more Rick Moranis, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk about a
Honey, I
reboot.
NFT'd the kids.
Hey, listen, dude, you're sick. Obviously, I'm telling you, I can't recommend this book enough.
Get the book.
Go get this
appreciate that.
book today.
And
it
listen
will
to the
change your
Audible.
life tomorrow. I promise you. Nate, thanks for being here.
Thank you
dude.
for your time, buddy.
We love
Always
you.
fun.
And you're
hanging out
coming
with
back
you guys.
soon.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Appreciate it.
I'm available.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Concrete Enterprises. Visit the Concrete Enterprises family of businesses at cefamily.co. That's cefamily.co. Due process. Standardize, onboard, and optimize. Click or call today. See how we can help take your business to the next level. DueProcessUSA.com. Process is Everything is a production of the Levy Studios. It's the right thing to do. Visit thelevystudios.com for more information. Subscribe to Process is Everything wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Process is everything.
Support for this show is brought to you by the fine folks over at Pray It Forward. Sometimes you see something that's funny or it's inspirational or it just sparks you to do something good. I just saw a Pray for Elon t-shirt. Now, it made me giggle and then it made me stop and think. I probably need to pray for the guy. Pray for Elon. A simple message, but it was effective. And I'm about to go buy one at PIFIFY.com. That's the Pray It Forward website. PIFIFY.com. Buy one of these for yourself and one for your friends. A silky smooth premium crew neck t-shirt, vintage black or charcoal. It's just a fun way to remind you to pray for those who are in the public eye. Pray It Forward at PIFIFY.com. Remember to use the promo code PROCESS. That's right, PROCESS, to get 25% off of your first order.